What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and welcome back to my super epic Doctor Who spin-off Spectacular. We are going through every single Doctor Who spin-off and reviewing them all. If you didn't see my last video on the Sarah Jane Adventures, this is going to be a similar format, except of course today we're talking about Torchwood, the more mature and adult alternative to the pussy kids show that is Doctor Who. Imagine liking this. Losers, we are Torchwood only over here. The show for real men and women. You know that because it has drugs and sex. We have Gwen, the Welsh lady who is from Wales, and she takes us into a world we never knew. The world the Doctor is too afraid to show us. The world of Torchwood. Appreciating it. Spoiler alert for Torchwood. If you haven't watched any of this show and feel like you might want to in the future, go and watch it, man. Might as well. Today, we're going to be talking about it all. The characters, the story, every season, and plot twist. All in detail. So, if you've not seen it and care for spoilers, turn back now. Okay, but now that's all said, let's talk some Torchwood. As I said, this video is going to be very similar to my previous video on the Sarah Jane Adventures. I'm not going to be going into detail into every episode, but I will go in depth in certain ones. And I will talk about each season as a whole, its progression, character journeys, and quality. Of course, quality is subjective, and I do care what the great community has to say. I did a poll on my community tab, which I do daily by the way, so don't forget to vote. And according to you guys, Torchwood is the greatest Doctor Who spin-off, and by a large margin too. And so today we're going to be seeing if that is correct, judging all 4 seasons of Torchwood from its humble origins to, well, we'll get into that. If you really want to get involved in the community, you can click the join button below and become a member to get special channel perks, such as access to the Discord server, special emotes, special videos, sneak peeks, behind the scenes content, and an inclusion in every video. Of course, as always, there is no pressure, but if you ever want to support the channel, I would be eternally grateful. Now, with that all out of the way, we need to finally start Torchwood. Now, it's no secret that Torchwood maybe takes itself a little bit too seriously. I even made fun of it in the intro. Torchwood is an overly edgy, self-aggrandizing, kinda shoddy mess of a show. Still like it though. Starting in October of 2006, Torchwood changes everything. With its season 1 opener pilot, everything changes. Actually, not too bad episode, all things considered, but I do think that from the start, a lot of the issues for the show, and there are a lot, make themselves pretty evident. Number 1 is trying too hard. Now looking back, this is actually rather charming, especially in this episode, but the novelty wears off a little fast. It is aggressive in how it is, and it actually makes the whole atmosphere of the show rather unpleasant. The slow motion ridiculousness of the early 2000s, the epic disco music, it gets a little too much. Let's just say that. And the camera jittering sucks. Oh my days, it is so distracting. The frame rate, the weird, I know it isn't glitching, it's smoothing, I think. If you know what this is, leave in the comments below, but it pisses me off. The main theme is badass as hell, but similarly to the Sarah Jane Adventures, the rest of the music isn't breathtaking. Now, it is a better soundtrack than the Sarah Jane Adventures, but it really makes you appreciate what we've got in Doctor Who, because some of these tracks are not it. The first episode introduces Gwen Cooper, who is our main protagonist for this episode, and also Welsh. She's Welsh, everyone. In case you missed it, she's Welsh. And in season 1, she maybe has a thing with Jack and Owen, but she also has a fiance. Ooh, the drama. Everything changes for her when she finds a weevil, which, to be fair, looks rather impressive. And then she finds Torchwood with a pterodactyl, which looks less impressive. She has her memory erased, but is smart enough to rediscover it and find their special secret base hidden in Cardiff. You know, that place where they filmed Doctor Who. We're introduced to the whole group and Susie, who dies. But she shoots Captain Jack, and we find out, gasp, shock, horror, he is immortal. That's basically the premise of the show. Secret special task force who deal with aliens, led by Captain Jack, and Gwen is the new girl who brings us into this special world. To be fair, could have been worse. And you know how I know that? Because this next episode is fucking awful. Day 1 is about sex. We're so gritty, we're so edgy, we're so cool, we're so trendy. This episode is weird, not fun, not good. Thumbs down. A lot of these episodes in season 1 are just weird. I don't know if it's because the premise for the show is faulty, or if they were struggling to find their footing, or if they didn't really know what they were doing, but it tackles basically all of its subject matter just so poorly. One of the main characters basically drugs and rapes people and is never called out for it. Just a little strange. Maybe. I don't know though. The Torchwood crew is introduced. Captain Jack as the leader and the one from the show we watched. He's John Barrowman, being a cool super spy and man of action. Owen is an asshole. He's a dick. That's about it. Oh, and he was in The Dark Knight Rises. Yanto is a pussy. Basically, all their character traits can be summarized as annoying, dull and annoying, camp and annoying, and Welsh. However, there is one outlier. One character who is actually nice. The character everyone loves, Tosh, who also featured in Aliens in London as that one random scientist. You remember her. Best character in the show. Oh, and also Captain Jack likes to hang out on the roof. He's gonna do that a lot. Season 1 continues on with Cyberwoman, an infamous episode, and for good reason. Yanto keeps his dead girlfriend from the series 2 finale Doomsday secretly underground and is basically being a massive bitch. This sucks. The design is ridiculous and shameless. You see what I mean about trying too hard? Yanto in this season is so fucking bad, and this episode just secures it. Now, it by itself is not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it definitely ain't good. Also, yeah, the special effects in this show are awful, but as I mentioned in my last video, I'm not gonna rag on that too hard, except when the show clearly bites off more than it can chew and it's embarrassing. Cough cough foreshadowing. However, a lot of the episodes in this series aren't all garbage. Now, there are some that are generic and boring, so I will skip over those, but the one I want to talk about is Countryside, because this is one where the fandom is split. Season 1 overall is one which I think most people nowadays generally look back on and dislike, but opinion is divided when it comes to this episode specifically, and I kind of get it, because those are my thoughts as well. I am unsure about this episode. On one hand, I think it's actually pretty good, but on the other, it is deeply unpleasant to watch. I don't enjoy this episode at all, and it does have problems, like basically every episode this season, but I think it's actually well done. It's tense, it has emotions, it shows the sick and twisted side of the villain successfully, and the setting is great for what it's going for. This, maybe, is the standout of the season, but I still don't enjoy it. It's more good than bad, at least in my opinion. I'm sure you guys will say what you thought about it in the comment section below, so I'll leave it at that. They Keep Killing Susie is another unique one. A good way to tie in the pilot and Susie back into the plot in a way I personally didn't see coming at the time. The ending especially is a bit lackluster, but it's definitely one of the better episodes this season. Out of Time is also interesting. Maybe another contender for best in the series, although, as I think I've made pretty clear, not a high bar. Episode 12, titled Captain Jack Harkness, is one that a lot of people seem to love. It's definitely one of the better ones, but I personally never found it all that. It is above average though, and has some interesting elements. The finale, on the other hand, remember what I said about biting off more than you can chew? Well, there was an attempt. Never let him cook again. The season ends with a cliffhanger, and the Doctor's hand begins bubbling, and we hear the off-screen sound of the TARDIS. Ties in directly with Utopia. The episodes go right into one another, and when you watch it like that, it does make you appreciate it more, because that is awesome. The episode itself is pretty mid though. This season wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Yeah, it's bad, but some of the episodes are actually pretty decent. It is definitely better than the first season of Sarah Jane. Yeah, it looks like shit and some of the episodes are shit, but the overall series storyline, story arc, pretty cool and well done. There are character arcs for all the characters, even if Yanto is still a pussy by the end of it. Owen, however, does get somewhat of a redemption after his suicide attempt. Tosh's own episode just to herself was disappointing and not what she deserved, but still, she's great throughout, and Captain Jack got a lot of chances to show off, as he will continue to get throughout the whole series. As much as Gwen was the audience surrogate in the pilot, Captain Jack is pretty clearly the show's main character, and everything revolves around him, and he's pretty funny. He carries the show enough, let's just say that. However, I would overall still call season 1 a bit of a dud. It has a lot of rough edges, and as I said, it can all be simply summarized as trying too hard. Season 2 on the other hand is a massive improvement. Not visually mind you, it pretty much looks exactly the same, but on vibes alone, I much prefer this series. The show is a lot more self-aware, a lot more willing to poke fun at itself, which ironically makes me take it more seriously. I think this series is everything series 1 was trying to be and more. The character arcs are much better and more pronounced, the characters as a whole I think are better, and the overall quality of episode makes a drastic increase. Now there are still a few duds and a few that I simply don't like, but there is an improvement and I will say hats off to them. The biggest improvement is probably the character of Owen, who goes from someone who I straight up don't like to someone who I actually do. That's the magic of character growth, people. Owen did have a few good moments towards the end of series 1, but his character arc here is one of the standouts. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang introduces Captain John, who I don't know how I feel about, but just because of the choice of actor alone, I'm gonna go thumbs up. Reese and Gwen's relationship is also better here, I feel. There's some funny stuff, man. There's also meat, which is disgusting. And Martha! Martha's here, everybody, and you guys know I love Martha. W Torchwood. The episode still sucks though, but it's fun, and we love fun, right? Cough cough foreshadowing. But the true MVP episode of the season is Adam. A truly great premise that I think is expanded upon pretty well. There's a new guy on the team, Adam, except he's not new. He's always been here, and he can change people's memories with a touch of the hand. And here we get more of that spicy backstory with Captain Jack. It's a good episode, truly, although it does have problems, mostly with the Anto stuff. But aside from that, all good from me. Dead Man Walking is also pretty good. This whole second stretch of season 2 is very easily watchable, and I enjoyed it, even if it isn't perfect. The season's storyline with Grey is passable, maybe. It's kind of boring and I don't really care for it, but the interconnectivity between episodes is appreciated in making the season as seamless as it can be. The finale though, Exit Wounds, is where we take things up to 11. I would say this one is my personal favorite so far, simply because of the emotion of it. Tosh and Owen both exit the show in this one, and fair to say, I am wounded. Good one. The final scene of both of them together is genuinely heartbreaking. Like, it is so sad, it's crazy. I don't think a show like Torchwood could elicit that emotion from me, but it can. And for that, I honestly have to rate it. It's good, it's a good episode. And damn, that ending is a gut punch. Goodbye Tosh, my beloved. Oh, and goodbye Owen too. These are my rankings for the season, and let's go on to the main event. Season 3, Children of Earth. Okay, now I'm not going to be around the bush here. I'm going to say what we're all thinking. They cooked. Now there are a few people, a small group of misguided lost souls who want to be different, making sure I don't fit in, who say that this season is bad because children are in danger and the Doctor would always save children. Sorry guys, that is just too corny. That is some Moffat Series 8, Series 9 Christmas special type sentimental bullshit. And children will hear your name. Pretentious poppycock. Now, I understand when some people argue that maybe a Doctor Who episode goes too far in its subject matter. Most of the time, I'm all there for pushing the boundaries, but sometimes I can agree. It is fair to call them out if they go a little too far. But this isn't Doctor Who, this is Torchwood. And with the premise of a mature show tackling hardcore themes in the Doctor Who universe, yes, it's uncomfortable, yes, it's hard to watch, but by God, am I all for it. I feel like this show exists for stories like this. And to say that it pushed the boundaries while not being incorrect, in my opinion, is not a slight. I think the key here is the execution. The tone is much more mature, far more measured than Torchwood has ever been in the past. The camera work is tighter and actually looks like a real show this time. And gone are those little zoom-ins that, to be fair, I actually got quite attached to. There is a more consistent and grounded visual style, with my only complaints being Gwen's shooting scenes, because Eve Miles doesn't look that cool while doing them. But that is a nitpick. Visually, sound-wise, scale-wise, writing-wise, it is all a major improvement. The concept is well thought out, very well thought out. That's something I really want to emphasize. Ross T. Davies came back to the show to write this, and you can tell he put his heart and soul into it. The emotion is here, the drama is here, the tension in those final few episodes is palpable. All very well done stuff. Now, I don't want to shit on Chibnall because, as you guys know, I actually quite like Chibnall. I think he's a nice guy. I don't think he's saying. I actually think he's the GOAT because he saved Doctor Doctor Who, and also I think all the Doctor Who showrunners are the GOAT. But I must be honest, Rusty Davies does upstage him massively here. Now, it's almost unfair because these are basically two different shows, even if they share three of the main characters. The structure is different, the story is far different, the tone and mission statements are unrecognizable from each other, and to be honest, I wouldn't completely hate on someone who preferred maybe the more casual, easygoing original style. Never thought I'd be calling Countryside easygoing, but here we are, I guess. This is the fun stuff. This is the sad stuff. Or should I say, this is the shit stuff, this is the fun stuff, and this is the devastating stuff. But I will say, with all that being said, Series 3 is my personal favourite of the show, and genuinely stands alone as being an incredible season of not just television in general, but also in the Doctor Who universe. Now, even if I do rate a lot of these episodes highly, and the average of the season may be high, I don't think I prefer this season to any season, even my least favourite of modern Who. I just love Doctor Who, all of it. Too much to put it below any spin-off season. Even this one, which is very good. Let's get into it. Episode 1, or Day 1, kind of puts you in this false sense of security. I mean, you have no idea what's going on, and this stuff with the children is insanely creepy, but things seem to be going smoothly, all up until Captain Jack is betrayed, and then Torchwood is fucking blown up. Damn! Frobisher, played by Peter Capaldi, is here, and holy fuck, what an actor. What a performance. My goat. I love Peter Capaldi. His character goes to the fucking ringer this season. You got this smug ass bitch ass Prime Minister dickhead. Hate this guy. The politics of this season are handled expertly, as always. Love him or hate him, Rusty Davies can always handle this stuff well. Now, I personally wasn't crazy for years and years, and especially not for It's a Sin, but I will give those shows both the compliments of saying that its commentary was well handled. And also, It's a Sin has a Doctor Who reference, so W. Getting off topic because I know someone will ask, I just think these shows are generally flawed pieces of work. It's not like I hate them or anything, I just think they're not particularly standout or good or anything like that. Anyway, back to Torchwood. Day 3 is when I think Children of Earth really kicks into high gear, because goddamn, how else do I say it but they cooked. The 4, 5, 6 are one of Doctor Who's most terrifying villains. Yeah, I said it. They're horrific, and honestly the most evil thing that's ever happened to Doctor Who. The storyline is so personal, and even when the stakes are high, the script is still witty, although there are very few brief moments of levity in between crushing sadness. The 456 are an entity that I want to make a whole video on, to be honest, but the brief version of it is that these fuckers are space junkies who use children as drugs. Holy fuck. Yes, this is incredibly dark. Honestly, one of the darkest concepts in the whole of the Doctor Who universe. Just gets more fucked up as we learn about the tragic backstory of this guy Clem and his connection to Captain Jack. By the way, I will say, as a criticism, this scene of Clem and his smelling thing is weird and I don't like it. But as an emotional core to the story, Clem works spectacularly, as does Captain Jack's daughter and grandson. I think this actress does an incredible job. And that ending. Whew, what a gut punch. Genuinely heartbreaking. But before we talk about that fully, the 456, man. Damn, that voice is skin crawling. The concept is so good that you don't even need to see them to be terrified. They could be bluffing about the mothership. We don't even know. It could just be this one guy who held all of Earth to ransom. Now, I personally subscribe to the theory that they were telling the truth and that they really are just here for more space drugs because they realize they can, which is just awful, by the way. And that final episode where all the children are rounded up is petrifying. Doesn't even cover it. The government's slimy, horrific antics are so painfully accurate, and the disgusting lie told to all the parents of the inoculation, and the scenes of the parents watching as their kids are taken away. Oh my days, it is so affecting. When there's that small burst of rebellion, it is so cathartic. Eventually they do figure out a solution, but it is just as devastating. By the way, I see no problem with the vaccine light stuff, and if you do, I think you don't understand the complexities of what was written. I'm just gonna say it like that. What a comeback for Yanto. Real MVP of the season, from my least favorite character to one of the GOATs. They really did a full 180. Truly, I think Yanto's death is one of the most emotional. You can tell Russell T Davies really cared about this character specifically. He is really good this season. Captain Jack's grandson is sacrificed at the altar in one of, if not the, most heartbreaking scenes in Doctor Who. Like, this is hard to watch. And that ending, man. Whew, we won. But at what cost? The scenes with Frobisher killing his family, and then himself, and then given the context that they would have been fine. Damn! The Prime Minister gets exposed, but doesn't feel too great when you realize that someone just as bad, if not worse, is gonna take his place. Wow, we are really fucked. Some people would call this ending bittersweet. I would just call it bitter. It ends with Captain Jack running away. And to be honest, buddy, I'm right there with you. This would have been a wonderfully fitting end to the entire show. But it isn't. Torchwood was renewed for a 4th season, this time on Stars. But anyway, here are my ratings for Children of Earth as a whole, and so let's dive right into the next one. Torchwood Miracle Day. It's not as good as Children of Earth. Torchwood Season 4 is a massive departure from everything that makes Torchwood, Torchwood. Yes, Gwen is here and so is Reese, but where's Cardiff, you guys? Now, I wasn't keeping track, but I don't see any Weevils in there either. No buildings? What is this? It's not Torchwood, and for that reason, it was widely panned by both UK and American audiences. But I'm here to say the unforgivable. It ain't that bad. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Like, it's not very good. It has very obvious, very clear problems. But it's not as awful as everyone says it is. Hell, I would argue that it's better than Series 1. But still, I'm gonna dunk on this one hard. I'm gonna cuss the shit out of it. Number 1. What the fuck? So if you don't know, the concept of Miracle Day is that everyone on Earth cannot die. Except Captain Jack can die, which is crazy. Like, crazy. That is a crazy concept for a season. Especially Torchwood just gave us this expertly thought through epic. And this one is double the length, which means double the time to establish character, setting, story, etc. Surely it must be good, right? Well, let's just say this season isn't as well thought out as Children of Earth. In fact, kind of just makes random developments. The Miracle Day itself lasts a long ass time, both in universe and out. This season is maybe a little bit too long. This is canon. This happened after the Series 5 Universal reset. So did this happen in the Doctor Who universe? Like the current one? My headcanon has always been that because the Doctor has so many misadventures, he travels around so much he makes tiny little changes every time, everywhere he goes. And sometimes those tiny little changes can affect these massive events that change the status quo, explaining why companions in contemporary times and recent series still don't know that aliens exist. But that's just me though. What the fuck is this? But it's actually very fun to watch. Comparatively to Season 3 and probably even 1 and 2, this is light, which is concerning because it shouldn't be, given the subject matter and the topics that they try to tackle. This tonal whiplash can be very jarring, but also provides an incredible viewing experience. Rex is the new character for the season and he's alright. Hey, you know what? I like him. The 3 familiars as a villain are not the most compelling, but I do like this flashback stuff with Captain Jack and find the eventual explanation for the Miracle Day satisfying enough. Don't go in with high expectations and you'll probably enjoy yourself. What I am completely torn on, however, is this weird pedophile subplot because, like, what? I don't even know. How do I say this? I think it's actually well done. I think for the most part, it's well written, well handled. I get what they were going for, I think. It's very subtle and complex. Maybe too complex. It definitely doesn't fit in with the rest of the show. And I think it's actually not bad. But I still don't like it. It's just not very pleasant to watch, which is at odds with the rest of the season, which I actually find quite bingeable after you get past the somewhat disappointing first 2 episodes. Maybe those episodes I don't like because I'm just remembering that, oh yeah, this is what the show is now. But this Gwen stuff with a house and that rocket, that's just ridiculous. My biggest problem with the ending though is that it doesn't have one. Yes, Miracle Day ends on a cliffhanger, which was never resolved. You got Jay Garrick over here saying that it's only phase 1, and then it ends with the reveal that Rex is immortal like Captain Jack. And then it just ends there? Come on, man. It gets resolved in Big Finish. Ain't nobody care. Get that shit out of here, man. Save it for the brief explanation of the EU, bucko. This season ends on a real flop note. I'm sorry, I have to say it. In short, it juggles too much, it can't handle any of its complex subject matter, it shares barely any similarities with its previous seasons, it's far too American, it has an unsatisfying ending, an overly stretched out mid-portion, and a middling start. And it doesn't even get fully resolved. Yeah. But it is charming, and that has to count for something. Well, that's a real abrupt ending, but I guess that's it, huh? Time to wrap up the video. Here are my final rankings for Torchwood. And I guess we're all done here. Season 1 is a hot mess which looks like crap and aged like it too. Season 2 is a definite improvement and overall quite enjoyable actually. Season 3 makes the rest look awful by comparison and is genuinely great as a standalone piece of media. And Season 4, we don't talk about Season 4. I kind of like it though. I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly did. Sadly, up next we're gonna have to talk about something a whole lot less fun. But, you know, it is what it is. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and if you want to help support my channel, please consider becoming a member. A massive shout out to Tim and Teddy Bite for becoming members. You guys are going up in the Hall of Fame. Thank you so much. And with all that being said, I will see you in the next one.